Hi there, welcome to BusterNet. On today's show, it's quick guides. It's a 4-1-2-2-1. It's different from the 4-1-2-2-1 that I have in my book. If you've read my book, I've got called BusterNet, a football manager's diary. I have a variation of this tactic in the book, and I create several variations in the book as well. Now, for this show, I'm going to just focus on what I might do with a 4-1-2-2-1 for an LLM tactic. Okay, so lower league management. In this particular case, this particular 4-1-2-2-1 variation is an LLM variation where I want to attack their defensive line. So how do I do that? Basically, I create a protected DLP who is flanked by two central midfielders who have been told to close down more. All right, so these two guys will close down more, thus giving him protection and time for him to play his game. At the back, I'll have two fullbacks, or both my fullbacks have been told to keep it simple by dribbling less, pass it shorter, and few risky passes. On the left here, Okito, I'm going to tell him to stay wider because we will have an AP in front cutting in. So here we have a whole setup at the back where the primary goal of my backline is to pass it short and play a few risky passes to encourage the ball to come to the DLP who's protected by two central midfielders. Why? I want to play structured so I can pass it into space, and this guy can pass balls to the AP here who's on attack and the IF on attack. So they can attack defensive lines. This is one variation of the 4-1-2-1. I haven't forgot the numbers. I hate these numbers. I cannot stand these numbers. All right. So what about shouts? You will have to watch some of my shows. I will not tell you that these shouts are, very so important. I mean, the shouts are important, but this is what I do. Okay, I'm playing with a normal defensive line, but in the course of a match, I might push my defensive line higher. I might take a few more risks with this tactic, because if you watch any of my shows, you will notice I tend to do different things every time, because tactics you should be able to adapt. Okay, I changed roles for a player as I go, but for this particular example, this is how I'm going to start my matches. In the middle, this guy has been told to close down more and move into channels because I want him to move into this channel. I could easily choose a role that's attack, but here in this particular case, I want to play a low risk strategy with Gloucester City, and I actually did that in a match against Flight here. Flight, the 4-1. They got 4-1 odds on lifting the title. They're favorites to lift the title. Here we are 1,000 to 1 odds, and this match we actually held them to a 0-0 draw. We played really well. They got so frustrated playing against us. They actually had a player sent off in the 54th minute. We played with a static defense. All right, and they had no clear-cut chances with only one on target. We actually could have won the game, but we didn't win the game, so I was a bit disappointed. But it's okay. It's all right. It's a tactic that I love to use for LLM. In LLM football, I sometimes like to use a player who's playing in as a DM slot, because this creates what I call a static defense. So this 4-1-2-2-1 has the potential of creating a static defense which forces teams to play around you. And when that happens, lesser teams have trouble because they need really good players in your final third to break you down. And if they can't break you down, you've got three players who can easily attack their flanks or cut inside and create all kinds of havoc. Are there other variations of the 4-1-2-2-1? Yes, there are so many variations. There is no one way of playing it. You can set up a camping tactic with a 4-1-2-2-1. You can have inverted wing backs in your 4-1-2-2-1. You can do it in such a way that this guy drops deep, this guy's attack. You can make it fluid by pushing one of these guys into an attacking role, and then you can go fluid later. These guys, you can create a lot of havoc with this kind of a tactic. It is one of my favorite tactics to use for teams that are not very, very good. However, you are going to be challenged in creating chances, because a lot of your play will depend on the strength and ability of this guy. This guy has to be strong. He's going to be able to hold up the ball, and you're going to have to find a player who can pass the ball as well. You're going to have two hardworking central midfielders. So essentially, when you create any tactic, you're going to have to think about where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are going to be. So you're going to have to identify players with high work rate and teamwork to take up these two slots, you're going to have to look for a player who's also got teamwork here, and it's got strength, decisions, passing, anticipation. You will need players who have concentration on the flanks, anticipation. You will need players to have pace and acceleration, not so critical at the back, but at least you need these people to have good sense of positioning. All right, so you're gonna force a team around you, and you want your team to have a lot of stamina as well, and acceleration here in these two particular areas, because you can wear a team down, and then in the last 10 minutes launch your attacks. And if you want to know what these launch attacks are, watch a few more of my LLM videos, because that's what I do. I drop my defensive line or increase my defensive line. So are there any other ways you can play a 4-1-2-2-1? Yeah, so many. But here in this particular example, I have this guy. All three of these players have got these instructions, except for roam from position. They have got tackle harder and close down much more. This AP is actually playing my Eden Hazard role. All right, and here he's been told to tackle harder, close down much more. Here the center forward is tackle harder, close down much more. So they're all performing a high block. In the middle, they're doing a medium block, close down more. You can see there's one more. I didn't go all the way. I only went to close down more. But I'm not telling them to tackle harder. Here, Hanks has been told to close down more as well, and dribble less. I don't want him to dribble too much. Then I got Okito, Diman, Odero, and Thomas at the back. The fullbacks have been told to dribble less, pass it shorter, and few risky passes. That's the goal of the fullbacks. At the back, the central defenders have got nothing. The DLP is default, and the goalkeeper has been told to distribute to fullbacks and roll it out. In terms of shouts, here for this particular team, I am going to go more direct passing, pass into space, play out of defense, whip crosses, prevent short goalkeeper distribution. My shape I'm going to use for this tactic is structured because I want to exploit the space. Now, what would happen if I have a team instruction that has got locked in direct passing? What about these guys? How does it affect people who have got locked in pass it shorter? Well, the DLP here, he'll be affected by your team changes in your team instruction. So whenever you change your team instruction, he gets the full effect of it. All right. The guys who've got locked in instruction, they have an effect too, but not as much. So they might go slightly less shorter, or no, they might go a bit more, but they will not be as affected as web is. When you play against certain teams as well, what you should also be doing is taking a look at the team analysis button, going down to your key combinations to find out what your key combinations look like, what your passes look like. In this case, I know that some of my passing triangles are large, but when it gets down to midfield, Malcolm comes into gives pretty good support. So you can see some nice triangles being formed here. This triangle by the striker, Luke Hopper, dropping in. The only thing I have concerns about with the tactic, the 4-1-2-2-1, is the forward up front. Sometimes you'll find that you don't have an anchor here because you're using a center forward. And if you find that the center forward roams too much and it doesn't give you enough of an anchor, then change to a DLF on support. He won't roam, so you're gonna get a better set of triangles moving forward. Here you see in this system I used a center DLF on support, and my triangles were also different. This is a match we played against Altrincham, and you could look at the triangles once again. I've got decent triangles in support again. From defense, my challenge is getting the ball into defense. So here I might want to be thinking about Tom Webb. Tom Webb is still quite far away from my players, which explains why some of the times my defenders from the back, they take long ball, they pump the ball up. But generally, the triangles are what I'm hoping to get. Small triangles. Some of the triangles will be large. These are on the flanks. This I kind of expect these triangles to happen. But around this area, I want to see small triangles. And these are helped by the fact that I have this striker up front who's playing as a DLF on support. So there will be certain differences that you see in passing triangles when you're using a center forward on roam and when you use a DLF on support. So this is one of the things one of the ways you can set up a 4-1-2-2-1. And I will be covering more tactics. If you want more me to go into more detail for these tactics, please let me know. This is really the first time I'm doing a tactical explanation, purely tactics for the channel, and I plan to do a few more, but your feedback will be important for me so that I know exactly what you need. If you have any questions, you know where you can find me. You can always look me up at addictedtofm.com or on Twitter. And please, if you have a chance to, please support my Patron channel with donations. And if you're on my Patron channel, you can always send me notes and ask me questions and submit your tactics. And I'll try and help you guys out as much as I can. Feedback has been good, and I want to try and do more for you guys so that you guys have a easier and more fun time playing Football Manager like me. So you have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.